This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Briggs, and as always with me I got my amazing trio. First off, this guy is a space legend. He likes to rant on Reddit and on YouTube, Mr. BT. Say what's up to the folks.
What's going on, guys?
And guys, if you've been watching this, I've had my A1 since day one. It started with me from the beginning. I got Mr. Crenshaw.
What up?
And guys, we have a special guest kind of kicking off, ending our special guest tour. We got the very first running back in Texans history, Buckeye legend, Mr. Jonathan Wells. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, man. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
So how's the off season or retirement treating you now that you're not playing football no more?
Oh man, I've been out of football a long time, so this ain't nothing new for me. I've been
missing it
over 15 years. I wouldn't say I miss it. I don't miss like the violent part of it, but yeah, you miss the camaraderie, you miss the chicks, obviously.
Right.
Yeah. I can't say I miss running into these guys head first for sure.
Right. Well, we'll kind of kick it off. NFL news wise, it's really just a lot of coaching changes. Sean Payton decided to stay at Fox and turn down all the coaching offers. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too. I'll start off with you, Mr. Wells. What do you think about it?
About Sean Payton?
Yeah, him staying in Fox. You think it was smart or?
Well, I mean, obviously it's smart for him. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping the Texans had a shot to get Sean Payton. He's definitely would be first on the list as far as everybody that's out there for me personally. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's what's best for him and his family. So hey, you gotta respect it.
Oh, most definitely. BT, what about you? Surprising?
It's not surprising, but I also don't necessarily believe that it's completely over for every single choice right now. Just right before this broadcast, right, like less than an hour ago, Sean Payton actually basically poo-pooed a report that people thought that he was actually leaking towards. Mark Muske, I don't know how you actually pronounce his name, but he basically said that the rumor that he was not happy with the Broncos' leadership was false. So I don't know what's going on necessarily, but what I will say is that Sean Payton could go back and actually be the head coach in Denver. I'm not going to throw that away. I've heard through certain birdies that basically from a Houston standpoint, he's out of the picture. This was talked about not just the people that I know, but also Cole Thompson, who's just on a space that I was listening to, who was very involved with the Texans organization, also said the same thing. That is being reported it's not just insiders at this point. It's pretty much what we think at this point is that the Texans did offer a bunch of stuff to the Saints, and Sean Payton didn't want to come here. So I think he still has a shot of going to Denver, though.
All right. Crenshaw, what you thought?
I think it's disappointing for the Saints because if you can't get no composition from him, then I mean it was a wash to me. I think at this point they should narrow it down. Don't try to get too much. Just get what you can, just so you can get rid of the guy. I'm with Jonathan. I wanted him to be our coach as well. I think to me he's the best coach out of all of them. I don't care about his age. I don't care about how he left the Saints. I just want somebody that I know for a fact that my offense is going to be fit and is going to get the right coordinators in here and the staff to get this ball rolling. I mean,
and recent success too. I mean,
yeah. A lot of success, a lot of success. One Super Bowl, yeah, but it's a lot of coaches on the one Super Bowl. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And some other coaching changes. The first team looking for a head coach finally signed one. Frank Reich, the former Indianapolis head coach and the guy who led the comeback against the Oilers, is the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. VT, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts, man?
Well, I think for a certain organization, and Carolina being one of them, Frank Wright is a good choice. I'm just happy he wasn't going to be a coach here in Houston, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I know that me and Crenshaw have gone back and forth, but on the head coaches, I'm an ageist. I essentially don't want anyone over 55 being the head coach anymore. And I know that sounds horrible to say. I'm going to probably get a lot of tweets saying, "God damn it, why do you care about the age?" But the bottom line is, I want a young person to grow with this organization, and it's also one of the reasons why I wasn't the biggest Sean Payton fan. So Frank Reich, good for Carolina, not great for Houston. Glad he's where he is.
All right, Mr. Wells, what about you? You shocked?
Yeah, I'm a little shocked. I mean, yeah, that's interesting news for sure. Frank Wright. Like I said, guys, I'll be honest. I really just started following the Houston Texans and the NFL. To be honest with you, I'm more of a Buckeye. That's my lane. I love college and my high school. Obviously, this is my first year being an ambassador for the organization. So I went to every game this year and had a ball getting back around the guys. So it's been amazing. But yeah, Frank Reich. I mean, hey, whatever.
Love it. All right, I'll end it with you, Crenshaw. What do you think?
Yeah, I was surprised he got a head coaching job right after he got fired. I think he should have at least waited a year and let other candidates get that job. But I mean, I guess he know people that we don't know.
You know how it go.
Oh yeah.
Hey, as long as one less spot to fight for the Texans, I'm okay with it. I don't care if it was Jeff Saturday going to the Panthers. As long as somebody got picked up by them so the Texans can pick whoever they want, I'm okay with it. All right, well, since you mentioned the Buckeyes, Mr. Wells, we got the draft to talk about. And here's a little intro for us.
The Houston Texans select.
All right, listen, we're on the clock, and we're going to turn the pick in here in a few minutes. We're going to make you a Houston Texan.
All right. Well, you're a Buckeyes fan. Texans fans want quarterbacks. Obviously, the top two is Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Tell me, why should we go C.J. Stroud besides Bryce Young, Mr. Wells?
First and foremost, I think they're both amazing quarterbacks. And to be quite honest, until after the Georgia game, I was not just pumping C.J. Stroud like that, to be honest with you. I still wanted to see him play against some SEC talent. I still want to see him play against what we consider the best out there in college football. So he sealed the deal for me with his performance versus Georgia and that defensive line and that front seven. Obviously size. Some people don't care about size. I think we're in the AFC. You're going against, Vince Herbert. These guys are 6'6", 6'5", 6'5". When you got to go out there in that weather and it's snowing, you finally get yourself back in the playoffs. Me personally, I wouldn't put my franchise on a 5'11", 190-pound guy. That's just me personally. Not to say that he can't come in and be successful. I wish he comes in and balls out wherever he's drafted. But for me, I think CJ just has the size, and he distributes the ball better than anybody that's coming out of this draft. We had 3,000-yard receivers in 1 year messing with CJ Stroud. So I think he has everything that you need to be a good quarterback. Obviously, it's going to depend on the offensive line. It's going to depend on the talent that you surround him with, just like every other quarterback that's drafted. But me personally, I think CJ is a no-brainer in this one.
Okay. We already know Crenshaw and VT's feelings about it. VT is very anti Bryce Young, because of what you said, his size. He just doesn't think that he can make it. And I think Crenshaw is now leading towards the Stroud mania. So we'll see. Going to the number 12 pick, there's a lot of speculation. Some people say we should get Robinson out of Texas, the running back. And then a lot of us want receivers, and then a lot of us want defense. What do you think would be the best spot for the Texans to go at 12?
I'm definitely not going running back in the first round after what Dameon Pierce did. You can find another great running back anywhere between second and fourth. Yeah, second and fourth round. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We definitely need a number one receiver. So if we can't get one in the offseason, we're going to need to draft one of these guys. A Jackson Smith and Jigba, CJ Stroud reunion would be idealistic. I think from what I'm reading, he's one of the most prepared wide receivers, even though he didn't play this year. What they think that's going to be NFL ready. And what Olave and Wilson is doing in their rookie seasons, we got some things rolling here at the wide receiver position at Ohio State. So I would hope we get a receiver. Can always use help on the offensive line, but I'm definitely not going running back at number 12.
All right. If Jackson's not there, who would you rather have?
I haven't studied the guys enough as far as like wide receivers that's available. I just somebody who's proven, somebody who's played against great talent in college, and somebody who's put up some big numbers, man. I think we need a big receiver, which I like Nico Collins. I was hoping Nico Collins had a breakout year this year. He was kind of dealing with
he was kind of doing it until he got hurt. I mean, he was having a breakout year.
Yeah,
better every game.
Yeah, he was dealing with some injuries, but I love his size. I love, his frame and stuff like that. But I still think we need a solidified number one at receiver.
Does that hurt rooting for Nico since he went to the Big Blue?
Nah, man, you don't listen. We had our run, bro. We had a 20-year run, since my senior year. 17-3? At the end of the day, the table's going to turn. But we're looking to get it back in our favor next year. But once you get to the league, man, it's all love. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. A couple comments before we move on. We need a number one running back, which we have in Pierce. And Pierce is definitely not good enough. I don't know what football you've been watching, but all right. Your opinion is your opinion.
Let me ask a question to Mr. Wells, if you don't mind, about the receiver, because I know you mentioned receivers. I want to know what you think about Quentin Johnson, because he's the person that I favor because he's 6'4", 215 pounds. Out of TCU, projected to run a 4.4. I understand his route running is a little limited, but I think that can be expanded upon with coaching, right? Coaching is important. I think you can expand on that. But he's got all the physical traits. He's got the size, obviously. To me, I have been looking for someone. I don't know. It's mirrored, so I'm pointing. All right. I've been looking for a Hopkins replacement ever since we lost Hopkins. And to me, Quentin Johnson could be that Hopkins replacement. I'm curious if you feel the same way.
I've seen a couple games that he played in, and he's definitely a great talent. So, like, if Smith and Jigba's not there, I think he may be the second wide receiver off the board or something like that. So, yeah, that definitely wouldn't be bad, especially with him being 6'4", being able to run like that, a downfield threat. I think that'll be a great pickup, in my opinion.
All right. Crenshaw, who do you think we should take at 12? Receiver or defense? What's your opinion?
If you go quarterback, you definitely got to go to wide receiver. I need those two married. I need those two to be in sync. I need those two to stay with each other for at least 3 weeks, in the off season. I need that connection back. Just like VT said, we need our D-Hop back. We need our Andre Johnson back. We need those guys that defense are scared of. Right now, they ain't scared of shit from our wide receivers.
Right. At all.
And that's at all. So that's the reason why they stack the box against Pierce, because they don't respect them. So we need a number one wide receiver out there.
All right. I wouldn't mind either. I wouldn't mind getting a free agent wide receiver or taking one in the draft. And if the free agent wide receiver don't pan out like you think, Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, I think he's gonna be a stud next year.
We hope that we're not that terrible where we're in a position to draft him that high.
Right.
So That's another thing. If you're looking to get him, then you're
or we
talking
can
about
just
being terrible another year.
we can just wait. Hopefully, the Browns are still the Browns, and stink it up, and we get a high pick that way. But
Okay.
I know you're a Ohio fan, but hopefully you're not a Browns fan. So I'm sorry.
I did radio for the Browns. 92.3
Okay.
The Fan for a couple of years while I was living in Cleveland. So I pulled for them. I really more or less pulled for the fan base because they got a loyal fan base.
Oh yeah.
And
I see some of those fans, man. It's like, woo.
Yeah, they've been through a lot. They've been through a lot in Cleveland. So to see them have a couple of years success, I was actually happy for them.
So let me ask you something, Mr. Wells. A lot of people on Twitter and Facebook, whatnot, wherever you get your banter from Texans fans, they all say if you go D'Amico Ryans, you have to draft nothing but defensive players in the first round. Do you believe that, or is that just ignorance?
No, I do. I don't believe that. So just because you go D'Amico Ryans, you're saying that you will not draft a quarterback and you don't need a receiver? No, I'm not buying that at all. D'Amico Ryans specializes in defense. We understand that, but the only way for us to be successful is he's going to have to find the right offensive coach, the right offensive scheme to put the guys in position to make plays. So I think that's a huge situation. I think if D'Amico's here, if they get D'Amico, that'll be another great pickup. He's familiar here. He's young. Only thing is he just has no head coaching experience. So you're gambling when it comes to what you think he'll be able to do at the head coaching position. But I definitely don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell people. We didn't lose just because of our defense. Did it hurt? Yes, it did. But a lot of our games we lost was because of coaching and bad quarterback play. You got the pieces there on defense. If you get the right scheme fixes a lot of stuff. Yeah. So I think D'Amico would help us. Crenshaw, what about you? What do you think? If we go D'Amico, we need to go defense?
No, we gotta get a quarterback. Point blank. Period. Matter of fact, why I got the mic. I mean, okay. I don't know. I don't know if you can say this, Jonathan, but when you guys was in the up in the box watching the game, and you guys saw Davis Mills out there, be honest with me, if you can. Did you guys think he can lead us to the promised land?
No, I did not. I think he's a solid, great guy. I think he can do what he did for you this year, in my opinion. He may win 5, 6, 7 games at some point, but do I think he's the guy to take us to get a Super Bowl or deep into the playoffs? Not by what I saw. Just too many open throws that was missed. It's just a lot of easy stuff that was missed. I understand when it's hard, but sometimes you got to make those easy throws, and he missed a lot of easy throws, in my personal opinion. So now we got to get a guy that's going to be locked in for the next 5 years, 7 years up here. Now, let me ask y'all this. What do y'all think about trying to go up to somebody as a quarterback in free agency as opposed to drafting one?
Now, I am for Derek Carr, Jimmy G. I'm for it. Tyler Huntley. There's another one I can't put my finger on it, but I'm for it. As long as his name ain't Tom Brady and can be a serviceable quarterback to get us through that gap, maybe suffer another bad year and get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm okay. But that's just my opinion. I know Crenshaw and VT kind of are on a different boat as me, but what about you guys?
Yeah, if I'll chime in here. I mean, there's certain vets that I wouldn't mind. Huntley, I would take. I know that some of the fan base is into Carr and so forth, and I wouldn't mind actually drafting a quarterback and taking a vet. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but let me tell you why. Who's going to mentor the rookie quarterback? It's not going to be Davis Mills. It's not going to be Kyle Allen. He's not going to be here. So, I mean, who's going to mentor the actual quarterback? I wouldn't mind. We got the money really to do it, right? So if we get Jimmy G and we say we get CJ Stroud, I can see having Jimmy G out there for the first couple of weeks, maybe the 2, 3, 4 weeks before you throw CJ Stroud into the Wolves. And we know that we also have issues with your offensive line. You played under historically bad offensive line, so I'm sure you know the struggles with it. Stroud is used to having a good offensive line. I don't know if you want to put him out there alone when we haven't solidified our O-line. I do think you may want to use a vet, and not to sound callous here, but I'd rather have Jimmy G get hurt than CJ Stroud. I know that sounds so bad to say. I don't know what other way to say it, but you got to protect your new rookie quarterback, right? You can't just. I mean, do you want him to have another Carr situation where you get a new rookie quarterback and he's demolished, but because your offensive line can't protect him? I don't want that. That's high draft capital. That's premium capital. You want it for the next 10 years, not for the next 12 months. So I would say get a vet and a rookie quarterback.
I like that. I like
Crenshaw?
that.
Oh yeah, I'm with it. I mean, I prefer Derek Carr and a rookie quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think y'all was in the car. Okay.
Oh yeah. I think to me, I think I think he's the best veteran quarterback available. That's going to be available.
Well, he probably gonna want to break the bank though, at the end of the day. So, it just depends on how much you can get a guy for and then still draft a quarterback. So I don't know about the Carr, but I would love to have him. Obviously, Derek Carr was in the locker room, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, sitting next to me playing catch in the locker room. So I know him from when he was a child.
Way back, right?
Yeah. And he's a great kid, great individual. I think he's worn out his welcome in Oakland. It's just time to, Las Vegas, so it's just time to get somewhere else and get a fresh start. But the kid can sling the football. He can easily get you 4,000, 4,500 yards with his eyes closed. And that's what
30 touchdowns. I agree with you. Everybody wants to say he's had a bad year. He had Devontae Adams. Look, like I said earlier, scheming means a lot in football. I don't think that McDaniel's offensive scheme is the best. I know he came from the GOAT, Bill Belichick, but
dude has had like 15 coaches, man, in his career. Like, you want to talk about unstable? Like, he's been in the most unstable organization pretty much. And that's what I tell people with Houston as well. Now, I wasn't watching them, but, the Texans were just in the playoff 3 years ago. So it's not like we're on one of those Cleveland Brown droughts where we've been 10, 15, 12 years. We were consistently winning the AFC South. We were up for that every year. And we were just in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Now, obviously, when you lose a franchise quarterback and all the internal stuff that was going on, which I have no idea about, I was nowhere around when that stuff was going on. I think we're not as far off as people may think. Because this year, we easily could have won 6, 7, 8 games this year. We were right there to win them. We just didn't have the veterans to close it out. Or like you say, the clutch quarterback play to close out some of those close victories that we needed. But I don't think we were as off as people think.
Yeah, I love Lovie Smith. I'm glad he brought the culture that we needed. I think it's something we needed to bring back to Houston to get us excited. But I don't think he was in football shape or head football shape. Like the time management was terrible. The coaching decisions on the roster was terrible. Letting Pat Hamilton call the dual offense over and over and over again. It was terrible. I agree with you. I think we should have won at least 3 or 4 more games. I think we would with a different head coach. But going back to the Derek Carr, I would take him. If you look at the history of Derek Carr, when Amari Cooper left, he wasn't that great. Darren Waller wasn't nothing until he came to the Raiders. Like, he makes talent very good. Devontae Adams was the first receiver that was known without Derek Carr. And of course, he still had a good season, but it wasn't Devontae Adams' season. But I think it's coaching. So I veteran presence. Who no better one than Derek Carr. So I would take him.
Let me just expand on the Carr thing, because my issue with Carr isn't that he can't throw the ball, because he can. The issue with him is that he makes bad decisions at the worst inopportune times, leading to interceptions. I can call it the Kirk Cousins curse. Say that 10 times fast. And essentially what it is, it's not that he doesn't know how to throw the ball, because he obviously does. He's got a decent arm too. It's the decision making when he's under pressure is what I have an issue with. And as much as people may make fun of Jimmy Garoppolo of just handing it over to a running back, being a game manager, sometimes being a game manager when you're a vet is actually a good thing. You're not losing games. You're focusing on whatever weapons you may have, and then leaving it up to your rookie quarterback to be that playmaker when he's good and ready. To me, I would rather have that Jimmy G, because he also comes from the Kyle Shanahan tree. So I mean, from a mentorship standpoint, I would rather have someone from that tree come over and to help CJ Stroud than Derek Carr.
Well, I mean, he's actually from the Belichick tree. But if you get if you get Jimmy Garoppolo, could you really tell if we got good wide receivers since he don't pass the ball as good? If you get Derek Carr, we can tell we got good wide receivers. But with Jimmy G, it's going to be limited, so it'll be more tight end play.
And I get what you're saying, B. Like a lot of people say that, but he is in number 12 of the all-time fourth quarter comebacks in history. So I mean, yeah, he does make some bonehead mistakes, but I mean, top 12, 15 fourth quarter comebacks. That's what Houston misses. How many games could we have won in the fourth quarter if we came back with the quarterback?
I mean, you got a point there, right? Games are won or lost in the fourth quarter. That I'll agree with you there.
And yeah, Jimmy G is a good game manager, but to me, Derek Carr is more of a master of the game. Like, he knows how to read the blitzes better. He knows when to audible. Like, it's just different things. I'd rather take Derek Carr's resume over Jimmy G's. But I get what you're saying, B. I don't hate it, but I'm a Derek Carr guy. I wanted Khalil Mack in the first, and I wanted Derek Carr in the second. I wanted the Raiders draft that year we picked up Clowney. But, of course, as history has it. Well, Mr. Wells, do you mind if we ask you a couple questions since we have one of the OGs of Houston football?
Oh, yeah, please do.
I'll start off with you, BT. You got a question for Mr. Wells?
Yeah. So you're incredibly well known for having that 129-yard game, 3 TDs against Michigan, right? And I want to know, like, obviously you follow Ohio State quite a bit, but when you came to Houston, is there any sort of moment that you can kind of compare to be on that level where when you were at Houston saying this was my best day or best game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I only rushed for 100 yards in my limited time one time against the Oakland Raiders. That was about my third year, so I was kind of like getting in the zone, but rushed for 100 yards, 72-yard touchdown reception, didn't play the next week. So that was kind of my experience in Houston. It was always, hey, I come in, maybe save the day in the second half and don't play the next week. You know what I mean? So Houston was frustrating for me, but I kept my mouth shut, kept my head down, and when I got my opportunities, I was always ready to step up and make plays and make sure that we didn't have a drop-off in the offense. So obviously my favorite memory is beating the Dallas Cowboys, though, to be honest with you. The first game in franchise history. The energy in NRG is something that I miss. Oh, my God. Like, if you go back and watch that game right now, you can see the TV and the cameras jumping because it was so crazy in there. We got to figure out a way to get the energy back in NRG because it's dead in there. So the Cowboys game that goes down in history for me. That was a great night for the franchise.
All right. Great answer. Crenshaw, what about you?
Earlier you say you're big Ohio State and high school fan. So who was the best running back to come out of John Curtis Christian?
Who's the best?
Yes, to come out of John Curtis Christian.
Whew. Boy, that's a running back factory. A lot of these guys maybe didn't make the NFL or play college at the highest level, but on a high school level?
High school level, yes.
Yeah. Man. I got to go with Reggie Duport back in the late 70s, went to SMU. Our only first-round draft pick from John Curtis. And then also, Joe McKnight, rest in peace to my little brother, Joe McKnight. He was amazing. Chris Howard, one of my mentors, amazing. Went to the team up north, played in the league a couple years. So, there's a lot of guys, man, that held it down at running back at Curtis.
All right.
Okay, I got one more. How did From the Ground Up Records start?
Oh, damn.
You dug that up. Man, listen, that came out the blue, honestly, bro. My career ended like so abruptly because of some decisions that I made. And then I basically, it came to an end abruptly. And then one of my people that I had met in New Orleans, he approached me like, man, I'm starting this record label. Won't you come and partner with me? And I kind of just jumped up on it, man, and hit the ground running. 3 years out of the league, we signed Malaj, It Ain't Tricking If You Got It. Had a top 15 song on the billboards. And we signed those guys to Sony Jive. So we had a little success in the music industry, not what I wanted. But yeah, that's how that started, man. One of my partners hit me up and I had some money laying around and I just jumped in.
All right, BT.
Hold on. I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
I like it.
Are you still 13th all time in Ohio State rushing?
Oh, absolutely not. No. When I left, I was 10th. I think I was 10th when I left. Right now, I'm probably like 21, 22. Dude, we put out so many great running backs. Yeah, we put out so many great running backs over the years. Like I said, college running backs. You know what I mean? Like everybody that goes to Ohio State, these guys are rushing for 1,800 yards like it ain't nothing now. You know what I mean? Especially because they're in that spread offense. J.K. Diamonds, Ezekiel Elliott, Carlos Hyde. We had some monsters at the running back position since I've been gone. So, I'm not in that top 10 anymore. But hey, I'll take it. When I left, I was. It's okay.
All right, and then one more. Somebody just sent me this message. They want to know, are you kin to Beanie Wells?
Nah, that's my little brother. That's my family. We're not kin. He actually asked Tressel to wear that 28. I was having to be up there in Ohio, and he came in the office when he was coming in as a freshman. And Coach Tressel was like, Jay, I think he gonna hold it down. So I said, yeah, run with it, man. So Beanie's like a really, really, really great friend. I look at him as blood brother. I was so proud of him taking that number 28 and taking it to a whole nother level. So I'm very proud of him and proud to say that he's a Buckeye as well.
All right. BT, you got another question before I ask mine?
Yeah, so we did touch upon the bad offensive line that you had to work under when you were at Houston.
Well,
but the question is,
let me say this. Let me say this before you go. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I won't say that we had a bad offensive line. What I will say is we had the youngest offense probably to ever start in NFL history. We had 7 rookies starting on offense alone. So none of us had any experience. We were just thrown into the fire. We had to figure that shit out. Because you think about it, those guys went on to have, a lot of those guys went on to have great careers. Chester Pitts, Fred Weary, some of those guys. So they went on to have great careers after that. But that first year, bro, it was just, that shit was moving like heat-seeking missiles out there. We had to figure it out. And we didn't have any leaders to depend on. You know what I mean? I had to step up and be a leader as a rookie, because we didn't have anybody that was vocal like that. So I had to take on that challenge. I didn't know shit. You know what I'm saying? So I never throw my guys under the bus. They bust their ass, bro. I just think we had a lot of immaturity. We had a lot of guys that needed to grow because that was our first year, to be honest.
And that Tony Baselli injury didn't help either. That
and don't even get me started on him.
Hey, bro.
Don't even get me started on him.
You are preaching to the choir. I'm glad you made a Hall of Fame. Good for him. But I would never root for the man because
one snap he came and got all them M's while I'm out there getting killed for a couple 100,000. He didn't play one snap.
Exactly, bro. Yeah. Everyone wants to blame David Carr. Nah, you need to blame Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli is the reason.
Because if he plays, I easily rush for 1,000 yards as a rookie. Now we're talking about something totally different. You know what I'm saying? I only started 10 games my rookie year. And had I started the whole 16 like I should have, in my personal opinion, I would have had 1,000 behind that line. So, we might not be having that same conversation. So, I don't throw my guys under the bus, man.
And David Carr probably wouldn't be a gun-side quarterback. He might have been a real good quarterback. So,
yeah, he had it rough. He had it rough. Yeah.
Really did.
We had it rough.
That ain't no lie, bro. You want to finish your question, BT?
Yeah, I think you answered most of it. My real question was, how was the locker room? But I think you kind of answered it. It's like some people took charge, and it sounds like you were one of them, unless you want to expand upon really how was that locker room? Because that was my question. Like, when you have a certain piece that's not working, in your opinion, though, was the whole entire offense. But how did you keep that locker room from running and not collapsing?
Well, first of all, I give big props to Dom Capers. Dom was a great coach. No nonsense, hard work. You got to put that hard work in, playing for Dom. also we had so many great leaders on the defensive side of the football. Remember, our defense was incredible because that's where they spent most of their draft capital in that supplemental draft, should I say. So, you got Jamie Sharp, or you got Aaron Glenn, you got Gary Walker, Seth Payne. Like, we were loaded. Kylie Wong, we were loaded on defense with a lot of veteran guys. So we had to we had to kind of lean on those guys on the offensive side. So I'm sure there were days that they were frustrated. We couldn't get something going on offense. We actually, the craziest game of my career was we beat Pittsburgh 24-6. And we had like 45 total yards the whole game, and we won 24-6. That was the most amazing shit I ever seen in my life.
That was Don Capers' revenge game, was it not?
Yeah. Pittsburgh? I don't know. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I think that was his old coaching spot. But I think that's where we got him, was Pittsburgh.
Don Capers?
No, we got him from Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina.
I thought it was Pittsburgh.
Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, Carolina. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't. Damn, I dropped the ball on that one.
That's okay.
Well, here's my question: how does it feel to be the very first rushing touchdown of the Houston Texans franchise?
The very first rushing. I don't have the rushing touchdown. The first touchdown. Who has the first rush? Is it David Carr? Carr might have had the first rushing.
I thought you had it against the Jaguars.
Oh, well, I mean, for running backs for sure. It felt great, man. But once again, that was a tough environment. You want to talk about going to Jacksonville back then with Henderson and was the Big Stroud, and Jacksonville was an animal back in the day. So those are one of the games that I definitely looked up to. But I had a rough day that day. I remember I had probably 30 yards, but I did score the game-winning touchdown. But we just kept pounding. But that was a rough environment right there in Jacksonville that rookie year.
All right, BT, you got one more for him?
Yeah. So we have obviously we've been talking about the head coach search, and if you've been paying attention a little bit on Twitter, you know that Texans fans are kind of going nuts right now. A lot of Texans fans really wanted Sean Payton now that he's out. Now it's D'Amico Ryans. I just want to know from your perspective if it's between Shane Steichen or D'Amico Ryans or Mike Kafka. Now that you're an ambassador to the Texans, who's your preference? Or do you even have a preference on what head coach we should have? And if it's not an individual, would you say that we should go offensive-minded or defensive-minded?
Man, offense wins games, defense wins championships, but you got to be able to score some points. So we got to figure out this offensive side of the ball, and we're not going to be able to compete with anybody. Me personally, I would like an offensive-minded coach. We just went with a defensive guy in Lovie Smith. And like I said, I think he had those guys playing good football before injuries and all that type of stuff. And then just the offense not being able to give any support. The defense is not going to be able to hold up for 17 weeks like that when you don't have an offense to support. Obviously, man, as a former player, I think D'Amico Ryans, it sounds like a sexy hire. But like I said, I'm just a little worried about not having any head coaching experience. But if he gets that opportunity, we're going to welcome him with open arms, and whoever they bring in, we're going to welcome him with open arms. That's really out of my league. That's out of my thing. But whoever they choose, I just wish we choose right, and that we can get somebody here that can be here for the next 5 to 7, 8, 10 years without having to go through this again in another 2 to 3 years. That's what I don't want to happen. So whoever they choose, exactly. I just hope they get it right.
Yes, sir. Crenshaw, one more for him. What you got? Or you like to go on the spree. What you got, brother?
All right, I just got two. One Texans and one Ohio State. Texans. How did you feel when we drafted Dominique Davis? And
go ahead.
And the next one, do you think Kyle McCarr is going to do well for Ohio State?
Gotcha. How do I feel when we drafted Dominique Davis? I didn't feel anything at all. At that point, the Texans had already decided right after my rookie year that they would be the guy. Remember, they didn't draft Dominique Davis and think, they didn't draft Dominique Davis and think that was going to happen. Dominique Davis was like, a late round like me, fourth round pick pretty much. Stacey Mack was the guy they brought me was with what's the offensive coordinator that I fucking hate? Oh, Chris Palmer. So they brought him in to replace me pretty much after the season. They told me I didn't even have a chance to keep my job. They told me that they go in another direction, pretty much. So yeah, I'm like, wow. After what I did my rookie year, like nothing. So I went from 197 carries to 5 carries my second year. They took me completely out of the playbook. So I didn't feel anything about Double D. Double D is the guy who I love because he saw an opportunity and he took advantage of it from his very first carry. When I saw him play against the Miami Dolphins that second year, you knew he was going to be something special. So I love Dominic Davis. We never had no beef or nothing like that. I always supported him. Dominic Davis saw his opportunity, stepped in there and made the most of it, got his money up and got right out of there. So Dominic Davis, I love Double D. Double D was a monster. I like him.
I wish that neck injury never happened, man. He was such a beast at the running back.
I think he had a knee. His knee.
Oh, was knee? I thought it was in there.
Yeah. And then as far as Kyle McCord, I am at the mindset that any quarterback that we choose at Ohio State, he's going to ball out. Ryan Day is definitely a quarterback guru. If you look at what he's done since he's been at Ohio State, you're talking about Dwayne Haskins, top 15. You're talking about Justin Fields, top 15. Now you're talking about C.J. Stroud, top 5. Ryan Day is that guy. So I think Kyle McCord or whoever wins that starting job, I think they're going to be just fine. We always are loaded with talent when it comes to the wide receiver room. So I don't think anything will be different this year. I think we'll continue to have a high-powered offense. I hope so.
All right.
Okay. Hold on. Hold on, man.
Killing me, Smalls.
Hey, I got
okay.
I'm finally up. I got the now.
Okay, now as far as the wide receivers, you guys have had tremendous wide receivers like the last so many years. Is that the talent or that's Brian Hartline play design?
Well, I don't think Brian Hartline was calling plays at all.
Wide receiver coach.
Yeah.
Passing game coordinator.
I think it's I will give Brian Hartline ultimate props when it comes to recruiting because Brian Hartline is the reason why we're going in and landing this type of talent at the wide receiver position. So I thought it was a smart move for Ohio State to give him the offensive coordinator position. Me personally, I still want Ryan Day calling the plays. I don't have any problem with Ryan Day calling the plays. Our offense has been in the top 3, top 2 in the country every year since he's been there. Our problem at Ohio State is defense. Is not the offense. Our problem is we can't stop no damn body for the last couple of years. So I don't know why he's giving up his play calling rights when they're not the problem. We got to figure out this defense. We just brought in the defensive coordinator, gave him $2 million a year, Jim knows. And to be quite honest with you, Buckeye Nation, we thought we had our guy into the Michigan game. Like he balled out. He took us from in the 70s or 80s as a defense and brought everything into the top 10 in 1 year. He doesn't even have any of his players that he recruited yet. So I think we're going in the right direction. But Ryan Day, he's amazing. I love Ryan Day. I don't have any problem with Ryan Day right now.
All right. Well, I got 2 questions before we kick it off. I'm in this group chat, and we're talking about Texans draft. We talked about C.J. Stroud. A lot of these guys said that C.J. Stroud will not be successful because he's an Ohio State quarterback, and you know the history of Ohio State quarterbacks. They're not good. What do you say to those guys? Tell them, Wells. Tell them how it is.
Well, I keep it real. I understand that, but, man, this is football. Every year is a different year, number one. And let me ask you guys this, since you're so high on Bryce Young. What Alabama quarterback has gone to the league and just been a dog like that? I don't know that many.
Right.
So throw that out the window. And secondly, like I just got done telling you, we've never had a quarterback coach like Ryan Day to get these guys and develop these guys. Ryan Day came from the 49ers. He understands the pro-style offense, which is why we don't run the ball as much. We're now in that pro-style, which is going to have these guys more ready than what you would normally see from an Ohio State quarterback. We will always run. Now we're pass, then run. So this is a new day, no pun intended. I think that Ryan Day he's going to have these guys ready on the next level. But at the same time, it all depends on what team you fall to, what situation you fall into.
Right.
All of those
Correct.
things play a big part, guys. So, man, it takes a lot to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. You know, it's not just about talent and stuff like that. You got to have an organization that believes in you. You got to have an organization that knows how to put the right system in place for your talents. So just a lot that comes with that. But I don't know any great Alabama quarterbacks. I don't know. A lot of schools don't have great quarterbacks that come from them in their history. So I'm not really buying that. I think C.J. Stroud has a chance to be the best quarterback that we've ever had in the NFL. That's what I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, like I told us guys, I mean, Texas Tech never had a superstar until Patrick Mahomes. Wyoming's never had a superstar until Josh Allen. So I mean, that argument is kind of silly in my opinion. But you know, apples.
I get it. I get it though. I understand. I understand.
So I got another question for you. Me and Crenshaw can't say anything on this because of bias because we had Lil Kiki and Lil O on the show. But who rap music is better, Ohio or Texas?
Ooh, well, I gotta go with. Well, no, that's easy. That's easy. I gotta go with Texas, obviously, because they're more relevant. Now, mind you, one of my favorite rap groups of all times is Bone Thugs and Harmony. They're part of the reason that I chose to go to Ohio State. They had something to do with that. Just because I was so in touch with their music. They basically just painted that whole picture of Ohio, that whole picture of Cleveland. And I was intrigued by those guys. They're still besides anything New Orleans, like the Hot Boys or Master P, Bone Thugs and Harmony is my favorite group of all time, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
But Houston, as far as right now, I think it's Houston. And
all right. We
close.
Yeah, we get behind that. Like I said, we had Lil O and Lil Kiki on the show, so we love our Houston culture here. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Any more questions before we kick it off for Mr. Wells?
I got one more.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, this the last question. Real talk. This is the last question. Another Texans related question. Are you and Garrett Wallow good friends since y'all went to the same high school?
Yeah, man, that's my little brother. Shout out to my bro, Garrett Wallow. I'm sorry, Gary Wallow. Listen, he's wearing number 32, just like me. So that just happened organically. But when I saw that, I was extremely happy, obviously. So, I was the first 32 in franchise history. Now he coming back, he rocking it. I got a lot of love for my man, Garrett Wallow. Great guy, great kid, man. Just a great individual. And I wish him nothing but success moving forward in his career for sure.
All right. BT, got anything else?
Yeah, I got one last question. Now that NIL is such a big deal, and do you think that we could see a reduction in quality in the NFL and then actually better college football because players will stay there a little longer, potentially staying there until they're a senior because of NIL, and which means that we won't have the juniors coming here. We'll have seniors coming to the NFL.
That's a tough one. But listen, here's the deal. If a guy's ranked to be in the top first round, I still don't think an NIL deal is going to pull him back. Because if that was the case, C.J. Stroud, I know we just offered him the house to stay at Ohio State. So, but there's nothing like going to get $20, $30, $40, $50 million guaranteed as opposed to coming back to college where, especially if you at a college like Ohio State, C.J. Stroud could pass for 5,000 yards. You let him come back next year and pass for 4,990 yards. Buckeye Nation will have you to believe this man sucks. So, listen, go get your bag, take care of your family. I'm always going to be a proponent of that. But the only thing I see changing college football is this transfer portal. I didn't think it would get this out of hand. Where guys just hopping in that portal like that and not being willing to compete and sit around a year or two and wait. I think a lot of these guys are in for a rude awakening, which is why so many of them are getting in that portal and not actually getting a scholarship. So I think that's kind of opened up Pandora's box a little bit. But as far as the NIL, I don't think that's going to sway a guy who's realistically a top 15 prospect to go back to college. I don't think so.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, Mr. Wells, man, thank you for coming on. A pleasure having an OG like you on. Tell everybody where we can find you on social media and what you got cooking, so that way we can watch out and follow you for it.
Gotcha, man. I'm actually now. I'm at my crib in Colombia, South America. I just got here today, so I'm hanging out over here for about a week. But you can find me on Instagram at JWells Media Group. As you can go to my page, you'll see that I sell some products called OSNAP. I want to get you guys some of my products when I get back to Houston to try out. Some clean energy, liquid energy, all vegan, all plant-based, no sugars, no fake sugars. Shit is amazing. It's called OSNAP. So if you go to my page, you'll see where I have a lot of people trying out the product and stuff like that. So the reviews are crazy. So that's kind of what I do right now. Obviously an ambassador for the Texans, and we got some international business that we're doing in Colombia as well. So me and my wife, we got quite a few things rolling. But yeah, hit me up on Instagram, man. DM me, whatever. I'm always available.
All right, awesome, man. And we're you got a Twitter we can follow, or you don't do Twitter?
I'm not. That's definitely not my Twitter, the one that keeps popping up. I think it's JWells Media something as well. But I'm not on Twitter at all. I'm not on. I literally stick to IG, and pretty much Facebook is where you can find me. I'm an old guy, man.
I got you. Look, man, I'm just getting used to Twitter, so I get it. So, all right, Crenshaw, what about you, brother? Where we can find you?
Find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere.
And BT, what about you?
You can find me at Brown Chubby Bear on Twitter, and check out TexansFanBattle.com. I have all my blogs up there, and I've been doing this new series called Another VT Rant. So my latest one's about D'Amico Ryans. I have one there about Shane Steichen. So check out the YouTube if you're watching this on Facebook or Twitter. Check out our YouTube, Texans Fan Battle.
All right, guys. And you can find me at A1 Day One Texans, and of course the podcast at Texans Fan Battle. Guys, next month is an amazing month. It's Black History Month. We want to celebrate it off the right way. So you will not get this, great host all next month. Next month you will get my boy Crenshaw. He will be hosting it, and we're going to have wonderful guests like a Mobile Coye, Biggie Fig. We're going to have some great guests to kind of give their experience of this great month. So make sure you definitely check us out and show us some love. So again, guys, y'all have a wonderful evening, and hopefully we hear who our coach is soon. Till then, have a good night.
Go Texans.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thank y'all, man.